Welcome back and welcome to another movie reviews video. I make movie reviews here on this channel every Sunday, as well as my usual bookish content during the week. My movie reviews are always spoiler free, and I will leave last week's movie reviews video linked up here in case I talked about something you fancy going to see at the cinemas this week. I will leave timestamps in the description box below so that you can scroll to a particular movie you want to hear my thoughts on. However, I only saw 2 movies in cinemas this week that I have to tell you about. So the first of those I went to see was Judy, which is Renee Zellweger playing Judy Garland in a sort of biopic. This film for me had good points and bad points. I really enjoyed Renee Zellweger's portrayal of Judy Garland. I thought she did a really good job. She had the feel of the movie to contend with, because it's quite a dark movie, and it's quite low and slow, and she had that to contend with while still trying to portray this icon, this, you know, person who we've all heard of, we've all heard her voice. And I looked into what training she'd done, and she'd done like loads and loads of voice training. So I thought she did a really good job. I liked the fact that a lot of this takes place during Judy Garland's Talk of the Town spot in London, which took place about 6 months before she died. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more detail about some other aspects of her life. I think it's a little bit like when I went to see On the Basis of Sex, and it showed just the very early part of RBG's life. This was similar in that I wanted to know more. I mean, when you leave a film going, I want to know more, I want to find out more, that's, you know, probably a good thing, but I feel like they could have done more in the time that they had, because, as I say, it was a very kind of slow paced film. I feel like they could have fitted in a little bit more, or they could have had a little bit deeper explanation of some events, or deeper visual of some events. Some events are mentioned but not flashed back to or not shown in the present storyline. So what I did see, I really enjoyed and I thought was really good, but there was stuff that I didn't see that I would have liked to have seen. I like the flashbacks that they used to MGM and to her early days while she was filming The Wizard of Oz, and showing the kind of childhood friendship with Mickey Rooney, and showing how her diet was controlled and her sleep was controlled and all of this. And again, like, I feel like we could have had a little bit more of that. We could have gone a little bit deeper into that. So I feel like the film kind of skimmed the surface, and it is a big subject to deal with. So if you're looking for something that goes in depth and shows you everything there is to know about Judy Garland, this isn't going to be the film for you. If you're looking for a film where Judy Garland is portrayed really, really well by Renee Zellweger, and we see her in the very, very late stages of her career, then this film is for you. Because it's obviously got musical aspects to it, I do think it benefited from having seen it on the big screen. The sound was very good, the cinematography was good. Obviously we've got these big stage performances, and then these kind of like dark nighttime wet London streets, and I think that does benefit from seeing it on the big screen. So if you do fancy seeing it in the cinema, then I do think it is worth it. But if you are looking for something that goes into a bit more detail, this might not be the film for you. Then the second film I saw this week, I'm only seeing films this week that begin with the letter J, because the second film I saw this week was Joker. I saw this in the Dolby Cinema. I had got the tickets as soon as they went on sale and got nice seats in the Dolby screen. So the sound was loud and the screen was big. this one wasn't filmed in IMAX, otherwise I probably would have gone for an IMAX ticket. And people were saying, yeah, let's go see it in Dolby. So it'd be interesting perhaps to see it again in a regular cinema screen and compare and see the difference, because I think there would be a difference. The film itself, now, you know, I am more of a Marvel person than a DC person, but the film itself didn't feel like a comic book movie. If you replaced the name Gotham City for New York City, it would be totally plausible that this was taking place today and now in New York. And so if you are on the fence about it because you're not a comic book movie person or you're not a DC person, then rest assured you don't have to be either of those people to go and watch this film and see it for the good film that it is. I found the film made me feel very uncomfortable and made me feel very anxious. I mean, I don't know if that was because there was obviously added police presence in the cinema, and there's been all sorts of threats about what was going to go on with this film opening night. That might have added to the anxiety. You should feel happier when you see the police presence is there, but you know, it kind of set me on edge to begin with. But I do feel that a lot of the uncomfortableness and the kind of feeling a little bit on edge and not entirely, you know, happy and at ease was to do with the film, was to do with the directing and acting and cinematography in the film. I thought that Joaquin Phoenix was just wonderful. Like, he obviously lost a ton of weight for the film, and the way he kind of manipulates his body throughout the film, we see quite a few scenes with him where he like doesn't have a top on or is just in his pants, and they kind of like highlight the shadows from, you know, his ribs and his spine and the fact that his arms are so bony, and he really accentuates the movements during those points. And like, that's one of the things that makes you feel, wow, this person is not kind of quote unquote normal. This person is something different. This person is somebody else, somebody to be feared. And I just thought he did an amazing job of like turning that around. And then obviously the other kind of aspects of the Joker, the laughing and the makeup and the, you know, the being affected by his past, which we do find out more about in this film. I went into the film not really knowing it was kind of an origin story type of film, and so I really appreciated knowing that. The soundtrack is fabulous. I think they made some really good choices with the soundtrack. The actual kind of original music is really good, and then the other songs that they've chosen to put into different scenes and put into different storylines in the film they made some really, really good choices. In terms of the violence in the film, obviously everybody knows that those Batman films are very violent. The violence in this film is infrequent, but the threat of violence is ever present. And when we do have those infrequent violent scenes, they are very violent, but infrequent. So if you're thinking it's going to be all gore and, you know, fighting and hitting and killing, it's not. And just, yeah, it was a good film. It's definitely stuck with me. And yeah, it's not a happy film. It's not one that you're going to be like, oh yes, we really enjoyed that feel-good movie and we're ready to face the day now. Like, the film will make you feel a little bit uncomfortable and a little bit like, people are talking about it being disturbing. I'm not sure it's fully disturbing, but it definitely affected me in that way. And so that is a film that's done a good job. And yeah, I'm not a DC fan, and I'm not necessarily, I know I like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but I'm not necessarily a comic book movie fan. You know, I walked out of Aquaman. And I really enjoyed it. So if you're on the fence because of those reasons, you have my reassurances that it's a good film, and it's definitely one worth seeing in the cinema because of the cinematography and the sound and just those little moments of Joaquin Phoenix being entirely invested in what he's doing on the big screen. And he's showing up at a bunch of showings, so, you know, still showing up at them. So go and see it in the cinema. He might be at your showing. You never know. Thank you so much for watching. As always, if there is a movie that you would like to hear my thoughts on, leave me a comment in the comments, and I am always happy to go and see a film on demand and come back and report here to you next week. I will have another movie reviews video for you next week, and I will have some bookish content for you during the week, so make sure you are subscribed so that lands right in your subscription feed. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, and I will see you soon with another video. Bye.